Thank you, Huey. Thank you very much. Gosh, we have a bunch of good classes coming up. I hope to see a lot of you join our instructors because they'd love to have you come. It is my great pleasure to introduce to all of us tonight somebody we all know, and that is Jim Cerny. Jim has been a member of STUG for many, many years, and he's used computers through his working career from the late 1970s. He's going to present to us this evening his best helpful tips using Windows, and he's called it Windows Tips and Tricks. So, Jim, we're excited to have you here. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Can everybody hear me? I have the microphone on, I believe. Okay, that's good. I want to emphasize that I'm not an expert. There are people on this call earlier that I would call experts. I am a casual user of computers, although I've used them all my career. I never got into the hardware and the designing software and all these kinds of things. But I think my tips and tricks will be very helpful. And I'm going to go quickly. If you'd like to ask questions, I'll pause during certain parts of my presentation and we'll look at the chat. So if you could enter your question at the chat, maybe Huey or Bill Crow could look at that when I ask for questions and say, yeah, Jim, there's some questions for you. That would be great. You can always, as we go through this list of about 20 tips and tricks, you can always ask Google. So I may not have time. In fact, I know I won't have time to demonstrate these things. My goal is to mention them, to put a bug in your ear, a nice bug, not a computer bug, and give you the incentive to try some of these things and then ask Google, how do I do this with it? Or how do I do that with it? And Google will give you some great videos and great instruction for any of these items that we're going to talk about today. Okay. And I want you to each get a piece of scratch paper out and a pencil or pen. And you just need a little piece of paper, and you're going to put a tick mark down for every tip or trick that you either are aware of or knew about or have used. And that means you agree that you have heard about this tip or trick and you're aware of it. And that's my goal, is to make more people aware of it. Now, if you get a lot of tick marks, you're going to be eligible for a great prize at the end. And if you have no tick marks, you're going to get a great prize at the end too, I promise, okay? And I know you're all waiting to wonder what that surprise is, especially the board members are thinking, what? What kind of prize could he give? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Okay, so let's see if we can get started. Number one on my list is to make sure you have all your passwords and security questions written down someplace. Have it in more than one place. And let me share my screen while I'm thinking of it here, so you don't have to see my purple face. So you need to keep your passwords and your security questions up to date. Even if you don't get a new computer, I noticed every once in a while, particular application that you use, your bank or your investment company or whatever, they will quiz you as to what your security question answer is, even though you haven't used it in the past. The big danger for this, of course, is that you lose your computer. It gets run over by a truck, it just stops working. What are you going to do? You have to be able to do what's important to you using somebody else's computer. That means it will not have the passwords that you told it to remember, unless you use a software package or an app that remembers passwords for you. But that's a good test. If you go on a vacation or you just want to test yourself, try using somebody else's computer and see if you can do your banking or other important things that you have to do. So that's number one on my list. Okay, give yourself a tick mark if you have all your passwords and security questions. Now we're going to talk about number two, is on the desktop. And you see my desktop here, most of it. And the first thing I want to bring to your attention is the search box down in the bottom left. Type here to search. If you use that search box, and I'm going to type in STUG, all capitals, I don't even have to finish typing or hit enter. I get a list. And the list is the STUG folder that I may want. It tells me the best matches, probably the things I've used most recently. Then it will search the web. And if you click on one of these, it will probably use the Bing internet browser to search the web. And I honestly don't know how to change that default to a different browser. But be aware that if it says search the web and you click on one of these things, it will go to the web and start searching. Now here's some documents and some folders. I won't go into a lot of detail, but if you click an arrow, like for this item over here, you will get when it was last modified, and you could go right to the location where that folder or file resides. So that's using the search box. Is there more to it than that? Yeah, a little bit. But that's basically the search box down here. If you've used that and enjoy that you have used it and it did some good for you, give yourself a tick mark for number 2. Number 3 is kind of cool. It's one of my favorites, and that is right-clicking the mouse. If you put your mouse cursor arrow anywhere on anything and you right-click, you will get a menu of what you can do with that item. So right now, my mouse is on the plain old desktop, and if I right-click, I get a menu of different things I can do with the desktop. Left-click to remove the menu. If I go to an icon and I right-click, I get a menu of options, what I can do with that icon. If I go to the taskbar at the bottom and right-click, I get all the options and things I can do with the taskbar. Now, I don't have time to go into these, but I want you to remember that right-clicking on anything will most likely always give you a menu of options of what you can do with that item. And this works inside of different apps as well as in Windows, many cases. So if you've enjoyed right-clicking for number 3, give yourself a tick mark. The start button in the bottom left, the start button, it looks like a window. My window is at a little angle. It's not quite a rectangle. It's a rhomboid or something, parallelogram or something. Not even a parallelogram, I don't think. But I think that indicates that I'm on Windows 10. And if you had Windows 11, your start button on the screen in this location should be a perfect square. That would be one indication that you're on Windows 11. If you left-click that start button, you get a list of all your apps. And what I don't like is there's a scroll bar here, but you can hardly find it. You have to move your mouse over to the scroll bar to make it appear. But now that you have the scroll bar, you can scroll down and find any app that you want. And if you right-click on the app, you guessed it, you get an option of different things you could do with that app, including removing the app. And notice that these apps are in folders as well. You could have Microsoft Office as a folder. It really contains many apps. And if you click on it, it opens the list of what's in that folder. Click the arrow again, and it compresses the list. So if you've used the start button to look for an app or find an app on your machine, give yourself a tick mark. Now, the desktop icons, going back to the desktop with the icons, if I right-click again on the empty part of the desktop, some of the things I can do with these icons is I can change them to large icons, medium or small. I can auto-arrange them in a grid pattern, and I can align the icons to a grid. and I like to show the desktop icons, so that should be clicked. If you auto arrange the icons and you play with it, it will automatically rearrange them to different places in your screen to make them come out with nice rows and columns. So I don't check that. I like with an icon on my desktop that I can drag it and it stays where I put it. That way I can arrange the icons the way I want. So to do that, right-clicking on the desktop again, I align the icons to a grid, but I don't auto arrange. So if you've enjoyed doing different things with icons on your desktop or arranging them, give yourself a tick mark because you have experienced that. The last thing with the desktop is that, for me tonight anyway, the desktop itself is a folder. It can be treated and be used and like any other folder. Now to do that, I'm going to come down to where I have a lot of tips and tricks, and that is the File Explorer app that comes free with all editions of Windows. Let me take a drink here. Oh, that's too strong. I should have weakened it. Oh, that's all right. Okay, if you come down here to File Explorer, which looks like a folder, and you click on it or open File Explorer, this is what you get. You get the File Explorer app. I'm going to make mine a little different size so it'll fit on your screen more easily for you. And you can see that there's a desktop folder right here. And these are all the things that are on my desktop. So if you knew that desktop is a folder, give yourself a tick mark. The second thing with your list of files and folders and things, the left side is a column that contains only folders. The right side, the larger portion of the window, contains the contents of whatever folder you've clicked on. So if I click on monthly class schedules, I see the contents of that folder displayed over here. If I want to open one of these, all I do is double click on it. Click, click. And it will open that file. Okay, I'll close it. Go back to my list. Now, how does it know what app to use to open the file if you double click on it? I did not tell it to open it in Word. Well, I did, but you don't know that I did. Word is my default app for all my documents. And it's the default app that is used when you double click on an item in your File Explorer. Okay. You can ask Google how you set up or select the default app you want to use. And let's see, if you've used File Explorer to find files and folders, give yourself a tick mark. If you double click the file to open it from File Explorer, give yourself a tick mark. Now, if you want to open a file using a particular app, you open the app first. And let me give you a little example. If I went to Photos, Pictures, okay, and I want to open a photo. Oh, let's find a photo. Not too bad. You double click, it opens the folder. If I want to open a photo, I could double click it. So what program is it going to use to open this photo? It's not going to use the Word program because it's not a document. So I'm going to double click it and see what program it uses. Click, click. And it uses the Windows Photo Viewer program. And there's nothing wrong with this. Okay? You may have a different default program to work with photos on your computer, that's fine. But what if I didn't want to open this picture in the app that comes with Windows? Okay, then I would open the app first and then open the photograph. So if I wanted to use the Paint program, I would open the Paint program first, click. And then I would use the File menu in the app to open whatever file I want. And this looks just like Windows Explorer. So I can go to Pictures, and I can hopefully find that same photo. Was it this one? No. You can go back up here. This is the path name up there. Maybe it was this one. There it is. And now I select this one and click on Open, and it opens that photo in the Paint program. You don't believe me. I know you don't believe me, but it is here. Look at this. There it is. And of course, you can research on Google, ask Google, how do you use the Paint program? You can shrink it, you can crop it, you can do all kinds of things with it, but we won't go into that now. The tip is, if you want to open something in a particular app, you open the app first and then use the app to open the file that you want. If you've done that, give yourself a tick mark. Okay, file extensions. You notice in my list of files here, picking a folder. Let's go to Documents. And I have to move this over a little bit so I can get the scroll bar on my screen, because Zoom is taking up some space over there. You can see that I get a list. All the folders come first, and after the folders come the files. Now, a file extension is the 3 or 4 characters that are tacked on to the end of the file name. And that gives you a clue as to what app created the file. It also gives you a clue to know what app you can use to open the file. This is a JPEG type file. This is a PDF type file. This is a document type file, and so on. So it's nice. I like to have these extensions appear in my list. So to do that, get rid of this thing so I can have a little more here. I can go to let's see. Better look at my notes. View file name extensions. View file name extensions. I have that checked box. That means that the file extensions will appear in my list. If I uncheck the box, they will not appear. Check it and they will appear. Sometimes you have to go out and back in again. Back to Documents. And the file name extensions they should start appearing. Maybe if I open up File Explorer all over again, let me do that real quick. File Explorer. And we'll go to Documents. I come back down, and there's the extensions again. Okay. When you set parameters for a folder and you tell the folder you want it sorted this way, you want the list displayed that way, you want this or whatever you set for that folder, the settings for that folder should be remembered the next time you come back into that folder. Okay. So if you knew about file extensions being displayed on your File Explorer list, give yourself a tick mark. Now, there's a couple things on view here There's only two views I use. I use for almost everything, I use the detail list view. And the reason I choose to use that view is because it gives me column headings. It gives me a name heading, a date modified, and a type. Well, the type heading is a column that identifies the type of file it is that you can also determine by the file extension. So if you don't have file extensions displayed, you can find out what type of file it is over here. Okay, and it also gives me the size of the file. What's nice about the detail list view is that these columns you can sort. If I click on name, it is now sorted. See, the arrow is pointing up. It is sorted alphabetically, the folders first, and then the files. If I click it again, its arrow is pointing down, and the files are now sorted alphabetically, but from Z to A, and then the folders from Z to A at the bottom. You can sort by date modified. You can sort by file type, and you can sort by size. All these things come in real handy if you wanted to, say, delete files that were the largest files in a folder, or you wanted to move all of your document files to another folder. So if you knew about sorting files, oops, clicked on the wrong one, there we go. If you know about sorting files using the detail list view of File Explorer, give yourself a tick mark. Now you can search for any file or folder in any folder. So if I'm in Documents, I come up here to search Documents. It gives me the name of the folder in which my search will apply. So if I put STUG in here, all capitals, just to make it sure it's finds all capitals, I get a list of all the things in this folder, the Documents folder, that have STUG in them. And this is real handy. You could do things from this point. You could go to that file or that folder. You do all kinds of things. File Explorer, I used to teach a great class in it when people attended. And it was a 2-hour class. We taught one for 1 hour, and then we met again for another hour. File Explorer is really, really powerful. You can do everything with files except get into the file and change it. Then you have to open the file, of course. But any manipulation with the file itself, you can change the name, copy it, move it from one folder to another, delete it. Anything with files can be done with File Explorer. So if you've used this search in File Explorer in the upper right corner, give yourself the tick mark. And I think at this point, it'd be a good time to stop and ask if there's any questions. Could Huey or Bill, if you could check the chat, and I'll check it as well. We see if you have any questions here.
Yeah, both myself and it looks like Jolyn mentioned that if you right mouse click on a file name in File Explorer, one of the choices there will be Open With. And then you can, you'll have a choice then of some other apps that aren't the default to maybe open that same file.
Great. I've never used that. I'm glad it's there. That's a good thing to know. Thank you, Huey.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's a great way. And if what I find in that list is that whatever image apps or photo apps I have will appear. And then you also have the option to go and search for more if they're not in the list. So it's a really handy tool.
Yes. I think I mentioned the detail list. I forgot to mention the large icons. The large icons I use only for photos. I use the detail list for everything. But if I have pictures, I always use large icons. It's easier to see the snapshot, the thumbnail of the photo. Those are the only two views I use, large icons and detail lists. Thank you for that comment, Huey. Okay, moving right along. I'm up to number 13 already. Not too bad, huh? We should have time for questions at the end as well. The next group of tips and tricks has to do with Google things. I'm going to get out of File Explorer and I'm going to open Google Chrome as an example. And this is one of the tabs I have on Google Chrome, which is the browser I use the most often. I have a tab for Google Search available all the time. I'm going to move it over a little bit. You see these 3 boxes right there. You click that, the 3 by 3, that's 9 boxes, if you were counting. You get all the free Google stuff. And it is a treasure trove. It's free because Google gets some information under the table from you about you, you know, and to me, that's okay. It's worth it having all this free stuff. Okay. So if you look for the nine squares and you click it, you get access to all the Google stuff. And there's lots of free things here. There's Google Maps, Google Search, which is this one right here, Google Drive, which is very powerful. I may have time to talk a little bit about that. I can go right to my Google email. And of course, I use YouTube all the time. A lot of time when you do a Google search, it will give you a list of YouTube videos to help you find the answers that you need. And usually those YouTube videos are just 3 or 4 minutes long and they're very handy. Now, Google Drive, let's open that real quick. Google Drive is a place that you have for free storage outside of your computer. It's not on your C drive. It's in the Google Cloud. And you get up to, I think, moving this over a little bit. Yeah, you get 15 gigabytes free storage space. You can put any files you want up here on Google Drive. And if you don't use it, I recommend that everybody try to get a Google ID. If you have a Google email address, you already have a Google ID and password. Your Google Gmail account for Gmail opens up all things Google for you as well. So if you know about Google Drive, give yourself a check mark. Now, Google Drive has some pretty neat things about it. In addition to putting your files up here, you can put up any kind of files you want. I mean, I have to move this over so I can see my scroll bar. You can put up spreadsheet files, PowerPoint files, whatever you want, you can put on Google Drive. But don't answer yet, because Google Drive offers much, much more. Google Drive offers you, for absolutely free, a document word processor, a spreadsheet, and a Google presentation, slide presentation, and Google Forms, which I haven't used but once or twice. So you don't need to purchase and spend money for Microsoft Office. You can use these for free. Now, if you knew about these products on Google Drive, give yourself a check mark. Okay. If you create a Google Doc, you can open it, you can download it to your computer, you can open it in Word. So these things are compatible with the Microsoft Office apps. Okay. And here is where you would upload your files. Uploading means taking it from your computer and putting it up in the cloud. And downloading is the opposite, taking it from Google Drive in the cloud and downloading it to your computer. If you knew about these free tools on Google Drive, give yourself a tick mark. The big advantage for Google Drive is because it's on the cloud in Google, you can access it from any computer. So if you're traveling or you need to get to something, you have to have somebody else's computer to use. Everything will be the same. Just go to your Google account. You can do your Gmail. You can do anything on Google Drive that you did at home on anybody's computer because it's in the cloud. If you knew that, give yourself a tick mark. I use Google Photos. I am a fan of it, and I'll click on this here to show you Google Photos. Let Google keep the memory of all your photos so you don't have to use up memory on your devices. You can go to Google question, ask Google, and ask how to use Google Photos. It is not difficult, but one of the, let's see if I can get out of this. I can't get to the, to close the window here because I can't get down low enough. So I apologize. There's a zoom bar that's over my controls at the bottom. I wonder if I can move the zoom bar around here. Hide video panel. Yeah, I could do that. I don't know how to move the zoom bar. Oh, there I go. I just drag it. What are you doing? Okay, turn it off. All right, keep it on. Just get me out of here. Here we go. Okay, so here I have my Google Photos. And there should be a toolbar over here. That there should be a scroll bar that has you scroll down all your Google Photos. But the point of this is
If you want to see all your photos, click on the top photos.
well, the problem is I got zoom bars over everything, overlapping. See if I
Gotcha.
can. I can go back. Okay. I don't know why they're all highlighted. That never happened to me before. For some reason, they're all highlighted.
Click someplace in, like, next to the word upload, just click in the white space. No, not on a link. Click in a white space up at the top.
There we go. That
There
did
you
it.
go.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, here we go. We have a little really interesting scroll bar that you can go through your photos by default or organized by date. And you can find any photo that way. Okay. The tip or trick is that Google Photos can remember your photos for you, and you can set an option on your device to automatically upload your upload your photos from your device to Google Photos. So you don't even have to do it intentionally. It'll do it for you. It's really nice. It may take a little time for the photos to appear, but they will. So if you knew about using Google Photos and that you can upload the photos to Google Photos and get them off your devices, give yourself a tick mark. And let's see how many tips or tricks we have to go yet. Just a few more. And I'm going to go back to my web browser. That's my email. Okay, on your web browser, I am using Google Chrome, but all web browsers have this capability. You click the three dots and you get to bookmarks. And what you can do is you can save all the web pages that are important to you on your bookmarks. Now, another browser may have a different name for it, other than bookmarks, but Google Chrome calls them bookmarks. You can manage your bookmarks and organize them into folders. For STUG websites, for example, where are they? This thing is in the way again. Sorry. Whatever I want to do, it's in the way. So if I go to STUG websites, there are the 2 STUG websites that are in this folder, STUG website. So you can organize your bookmarks on your web browser, any web browser you use. So if you know about bookmarks and have used it and organized your bookmarks, give yourself a check mark. Another interesting thing that I did a article on some time in the past is when you open a file. I'm going to open a document, for example. Let's do Word document. And I'll open up a, when you click Browse, it looks just like Windows Explorer again. I wish that thing would be out of the way all the time. And I can open up, well, let's see, travel checklist. I think that's pretty harmless and open. Okay. Okay, if I make changes to this document, credit cards and gift cards. Okay, now I want to save this document. I come up to File, and I have a choice. I can do Save or Save As. For people of my ability, I always recommend using Save As instead of Save. If you use Save, and there's nothing wrong with using Save, it will replace your current document with your changed document. You may not want that to happen. So if you use Save As, and I'll click on Save As, it shows you the folder that you're working with. And you select the folder that you want. In this case, it's Documents. And now I get some options. Okay. Down here, I get some options with the file name. I can change the file name and call it Test. Now, when I do my save, I'll have both files. I'll have my original file unchanged, and I will have my new file that I gave a new name to. I will also have that, so I will have both files. Now, guess what? If I didn't want to change the name, I don't have to. I can just click Save, and it will work the same as using the direct save. But in Save As, I also get a chance to change the file type. These are the file types that Microsoft Word can save a document into. So if I have to save it as a PDF, I can do that. Just change it, and it changes it and adds the extension to the file name. So if you like or are aware of using Save As instead of Save, give yourself a check mark. Another tip is to delete the files you no longer use. Remember, I showed you how you can sort by date modified. You find those old files and you need to delete them. If you have been in the habit of deleting files at least once a year, files you don't need, give yourself a check mark. And the last one is to back up your files and folders. This is not hard to do. If you have a plug-in thumb drive or an auxiliary drive plugged in, your auxiliary drive, let me get out of this and get out of Word while we're at it. And I open up File Explorer again. If you have an auxiliary drive, it will show up here in this list. And you can go to that drive and you can save or copy your files and folders to that drive for backup purposes. So if you take regular backups of your important documents, pictures, files, and folders, give yourself a check mark. And that should be number 20. How did we do? Pretty good? Add up all your check marks, and I promise you that there would be a prize, and then we're going to take questions, okay? Add up all your check marks. If you have 20 check marks, could you send a chat to, just do a general chat to everybody? Say, I got 20? And if you have 0 check marks, could you also send a chat and say, I'm sorry, I didn't check anything? You get a prize as well. Okay, let's see how we did here. Okay, we have Lee and Mary got 20. Jolin got 20. But it doesn't count because you're right, you can't get a prize because you're not a STUG member. Nice try. Very good. Okay, for those of you who got 20, well, Linda got 7. Great. Then I hope this was helpful for you. Maybe you were aware of these things in your past and my presentation kind of pricked your mind a little bit. You can look it up on Google. And your prize, you're wondering what your prize is. If you got 20 or you got 0, your prize is that you are eligible for a free membership at the end of this meeting. Yay! That's your prize. So stay in there, don't hang up, and you will be eligible to get that free 1-year membership added on. Okay, let's open it up for questions now.
Jim, your camera is off.
Oh, I don't know how that happened.
Moving it around.
All right. Yeah, probably. I don't even know how to get the, here we go.
Start.
I got it. Start video. Here we go. Hopefully it'll start.
There you go.
You got it? Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody. And let's see what we have here. Does the search box results include the search item within the files or only in the file's name? I don't know the answer to that. I have seen search results that do show this character string inside a file, but to my knowledge, on my Windows, it doesn't do that. Does anybody else know?
I think you're correct, but I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
I tried to test.
If you do a search inside Windows Office, I believe the search, when you search documents that way, it will find the character strings inside the files. But again, I'm not sure. Jim, we lost your face. Well, count your blessings. Lee and Mary got 20. Linda got 7. Aware, but did not use regularly many. Good. I got about 6. Oh, Sharon Rump got 20. Way to go, Sharon. Thank you very much. Good info. Got a lot. Yeah, when you all came on early and you heard the people that had much more knowledge than I do discussing things that I know nothing about whatsoever, I got scared. I thought, boy, my presentation's going to be try to keep it simple, which I do in my article every month. And I'm glad that it looks like a lot of people found a couple of things that would be very helpful. So
Jim,
with that, yeah, another one.
There's one comment in the chat and there's a couple of hands up, so we'll get to those in just a minute. But in the chat, it says in apps list in 10 or 11, click any of the alphabet characters with no program listed after it, and you'll get a whole alphabet. Dark letters have one or more apps starting with that letter. Grayed out letters have no apps installed, and that's in your menu items.
Okay, I never used that. That's a great tip. Thank you.
Okay, Joe has got just Noak's got his hand up.
Yeah, two additional little tips, I guess you could call them. In the Google 9-dot memory or menu, one of the things that you can do, because they have so many of those little apps available, some people use one app more than another. If you don't want to scroll down the screen, you can move those apps around by just putting your pointer on them and dragging them around, and you can rearrange them so that the ones that you use most often are at the top. I use Translate a lot, and normally that's listed down below in that lower section where you have to scroll to it every time. I just bring it up to the top, and it's right up there with Google Photos, Google Search, and Google Maps. The second item is with Google Photos. They've been using AI for years now. When you go to Google Photos, if you go to the search box and you type dog, it knows what a dog looks like, and every picture you have of a dog will show up, or a cat, or a tree, or a lake, or river, or water, whatever. All those things will show up. So, if you have several hundred pictures, you don't want to have to scroll through them all to find things. You can do that. Also, it'll do facial recognition as well.
Yes.
And you can have your family members. If you're looking for one particular family member, you can set it up so it'll look for that family member in all the pictures that you have.
And I hear it's pretty good at identifying babies' faces. If you're looking at Aunt Thelma and there's a picture of her as a baby, it might even find her face there. You never know.
Jim, I might suggest you go ahead and stop the share.
Okay, yes. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, I'll turn it back if there's no
No,
other... Oh, wait, we have more
Jalen's-
hands. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jalen has her hand up.
Jalen, yeah.
I just wanted to confirm what Kate Holmes said in the chat, that search does also look within documents. If you're searching for a phrase or a term, it will also not only bring up the files with that word or words in it, but it will also give you options to look at files that have those words in them. So that's what. And I was going to remind you to stop the share, but Jim, this is terrific. I do what you just did for our local computer club up here. This is my 32nd year as a volunteer, and so it's amazing to be able to do what we do to help others. And I really appreciate what you put into it tonight. They're very good tips.
Well, thank you very much. These are the things that I have enjoyed to help me. It doesn't mean they're for everybody, and I certainly don't have the depth of knowledge that many people do. So
I actually use every single one of those tips.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Do we turn it over to Ann?
Yep.
When I unmute myself, thank you so much. Gosh, that was great, Jim. Thank you so much. Now, I have to ask you, you told some people that they would be winners tonight if they got 20 questions or if they got 0. Did you get winners already?
No. They qualified as a winner to be in the drawing.
And wasn't this a great evening tonight? Jim, you were so good at presenting this. And for people to whom it was just a review, I think they were all saying great things, and thank you so much for doing it. For those of us who only got 4 or 5 of those questions answered properly, I thought it was great. And the other thing I will say is when Jim gives a class, go to it. They're great classes. They're all of our STUG professors are fantastic, but Jim is a wonderful one, and he will help you learn more. So I want to say thank you to everybody who got here tonight. And we will see you all very shortly in another month. If not
Thank you.
before. Right, if not before. Okay. Anybody else have any announcements before I say goodnight?
Just a reminder of all the classes we have. Please sign up and attend them.
I'd like to
Absolutely.
remind you of the social we're going to have at the new year after the holidays. Look for it sometime in January, a Christmas holiday, Hanukkah, whatever celebration to start the new year. Social in person.
We've had 4 of them this year, and we're planning on having 4 more, but we need for you to come or we won't be putting them on. So don't forget, if you're around in town, they're fun. We have lots of good things to do at the socials, and we'd like to see you there. Do I see a hand up, Richard? Oh, maybe it just
You might want to remind people about Sunday.
Yes,
Oh,
Sunday is the Windows
Huey.
Special Interest Group for both STUG and the Central Florida Computer Society. We hope you attend. You do need to register in advance.
Right.
But if you're already registered, you don't have to worry about it.
And we're fortunate that they've let us in. So go and see that if you can. And I want to wish everybody a very happy evening. We will see you all shortly. Again, thanks to Jim. Thanks to Huey. Thanks to everybody. See you around the corner. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye, everybody.
Jim. Good class.